Welcome back to the Higher Form Podcast. We're here every week having real conversations with leaders, coaches, and everyday people about what it takes to become your best. We know life will test you, and we're here to share practical tips, tools, and relatable stories to help you build the highest form of your life. This week, we're going to be diving into fake health foods, food marketing, and then how to read a label. Excited to dive in because I think this will be a really good topic for people. Everybody eats multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And the food industry or big food is a business. And I think sometimes people forget that. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of like how things work, right?
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that can be misleading. And
Yep.
we're going to dive into all the different ways that they can be misleading and what that means for you. But, you know, you're at the grocery store and you're looking at a granola bar that says whole grain granola bar or real fruit yogurt or protein bar. And you're just like, I don't know.
Clean
Yeah,
ingredients.
this is clean this, clean that. And you're just like, I don't even know what that means. Or you don't even know what to look for when you pick something up. So we're going to get into it.
Yeah. And we are of the belief that most people aren't trying to eat poorly on purpose. Food labels are engineered for people to buy more. Like I said, it's a business.
Yeah.
The more that the people at the grocery stores are consuming things, the more the companies that stock the grocery stores are making money. And it's intended to help, really market so that these companies can sell their brands, right?
Well, they want you to be repeat buyers and they want it to taste good enough that you come back and buy it again and again. And so that's how they manufacture different snack foods and put certain labels on them so it looks enticing and it tastes good.
Yeah.
And you want it again.
The marketing on the front is what they get to help you pull it off the shelf and put it in your cart, but the truth is on the back of the label.
Yeah.
And even then that can be misleading. So
yeah,
I think that it'll be really helpful to just kind of walk through, some of the biggest offenders and just different examples of what you would typically see and what to kind of look for.
Yeah. So the first common thing that people would maybe think is a health food is, and it's not that it's not, but this is where some of that nuance comes in, granola or granola bars, or, you want to throw some granola on top of your yogurt and it says it's a whole grain or it's heart healthy because it's got oats in it or grains or something, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a healthy product, because in granola or even granola bars, they're so similar because one's just in clumps and the other's like squished together, right? A lot of times the ingredients are very similar.
Well, yeah, and they're using like artificial ingredients and oils and sweeteners to help actually get that to, I don't know if emulsify is the right word.
Yeah, and stay put together.
Stay stuck together.
Yeah.
And the texture of it is not like all natural.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if you think about granola, you're just going to take the bag and kind of dump a little bit onto your yogurt, and a typical serving size is about 1/4 of a cup. But unless you're getting your scale out or using a measuring cup, you're probably going to pour more than 1/4 of a cup in there. So if you're looking at the label and you're like, oh, it's only, 20 grams of carbs for the serving, but you're pouring double what a serving is, like, you're going to be way off on what that's actually doing for you.
Yeah. And regardless of where this is coming from, a lot of those types of granola or quote unquote energy bars, they're as full of sugar per serving as like what a cookie would be in a lot of cases.
Yeah. It's a glorified cookie.
Correct. And don't get me wrong, we're going to probably say this a lot. There's not anything wrong with ingesting sugar or carbohydrates. It's just where you're getting it from, the quality, which will be a common theme.
Well, and understanding that with this serving here, this is what it is, right? Like, you just might not fully understand that with this serving of granola or this granola bar actually has 20 grams of sugar in it. Maybe you wanted to get your sugar somewhere else in the day.
Yeah.
So then you're over consuming what you thought you were trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yogurts are another big one.
Yeah.
Especially like the fat-free ones. And when you take fat out of something, you take some of the taste out of it.
A lot of the flavor.
And the
fat
flavor
is
out
flavorful.
of it.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and you have to compensate that in some capacity for people to want to eat it. And usually the opposite of that is, well, if it doesn't have a lot of fat in it, let's put a little bit more sugar in it to make sure that it's still palatable enough that people will want to enjoy eating
Yeah. And have like that fake fruit on the bottom. You've seen those like flip cups. It's like real fruit on the bottom and mix it in. And half of the time, yeah, that might be like one slice of a strawberry mushed up with some other sugar
Preservatives.
preservatives.
Yeah.
Yeah, to give you
Well,
that
and that's another thing
flavor.
too, that the shelf life of this stuff
Yeah,
has to be long enough to make sure that it's not going to go bad. Like they can't flip it the same pace that you would in the produce section of the grocery store.
for sure. They manufacture it, they get it to the store, it sits on the shelves for a while, it sits in your house for a while. They have
Yep.
to have a long shelf life for it, right?
Yep.
And that's just more so for like the flavored, like non-fat yogurts
Hmm.
or low-fat yogurts. Unless you're doing like Greek yogurt, that's a different story because most of the time that's plain. I mean, yeah, you can get Greek yogurt that's flavored too. So obviously look at the flavorings there, but like plain non-fat Greek yogurt, like that's a different story. There's not really a whole lot to it other than milk, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I've been doing more of the Icelandic yogurt lately.
Hmm.
I just like the taste and the texture of it a little bit more. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it's maybe as watery and
It's a little
almost
thicker.
chalky. It's a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
Just tastes cleaner.
Yeah.
For me, that feels a little bit better. And it does come with a little bit more sugar because I do the fat free. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, like you do need carbohydrates to be able to
Yeah.
power your body. So
Depends on what you're looking for,
I
you
think it's
know?
important to say that we're not saying you shouldn't eat these things.
Okay, all of that can be said for this whole episode because, of course, we eat some of the things that we're going to
For
be talking
sure.
about,
But
and it's not like we're trying to demonize these foods.
I just want to remind people that early in
Yeah,
this conversation that it's more about educating you around what you're putting in your body and how to read these things and understanding what it means instead of being like, oh, that looks clean, and reading the label on the front and not actually looking into the ingredient list, not looking at the macronutrients, micronutrients, some of the different things that can tell you actually what's going on, the serving sizes.
yeah,
So just wanted to make sure that we stayed on
yeah, for sure.
on
Like we
top
said,
of
it's
that
not that we
early.
don't have any of these things ever, but like if you're gonna eat it, just know what you're getting out of it and how
Correct.
that impacts,
Yeah, your
your food goals for the day or
educated
whatever.
consumption.
Exactly. Another one would be like smoothies or juices or things like, let's say you buy a cold pressed juice at the store and you're
Immune
like,
boosting,
yeah, it's immune boosting. It's like, well, that's not actually,
detoxing.
yeah, regulated. The terminology used there. So because they might have like a tiny bit of, curcumin
Turmeric
or
in it.
turmeric
It's like
and
this is going to help you detox,
yeah,
and it makes sense. It's playing on people's emotions. Like, oh man, I feel like trash.
yeah, let me
I
take
need to
this
flush this stuff. I need to
juice.
do a detox cleanse. You
But a
know,
lot of juices, the way that juice happens is you're stripping the fibers away from the juice. And so when you do that, you're left with a pretty high sugar
yeah. I mean, like you could go
drink.
get a what's marketed as a healthy juice, but what the juice is, a lot of times you end up essentially just concentrating it down to nothing but straight sugar.
Yeah. And the flavors and stuff. There's no protein, there's no fiber. You stripped it all out
Yep.
and you're left with a sugary drink that is marketed to detox and cleanse for you.
Well, and your liver and your kidneys are already there to do that for you. You don't need to ingest something to help drive production for that. Now, you could have the conversation around like the micronutrients that help improve the function
Yeah.
of those organs,
Yeah.
but it also comes with a big heaping spoonful of sugar.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, honestly, we do juice, but I make little immune. This is funny. Make little immune shots, but it's a like a chunk of ginger and turmeric and pineapple and oranges and black pepper and coconut water. And it's just like a little shot though,
So yeah,
right?
we
So
do the
this,
shots.
I say it's a shot
And
more
every now and again,
so.
we'll get a juice. So once again, like it's going to be a recurring thing. It's
I
not that we
know.
don't do these
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
And you can get the micronutrients from that too, right? You're going to
for
get the
sure.
vitamins and minerals that come along with that.
Yeah.
But you do got to be conscious that it's going to come a lot of times with just more sugar.
More sugar without the fiber and protein to follow to support maybe digestion and absorption and blood sugar, I think is the biggest thing with that, right?
Yeah. What about the veggie chips, veggie straws?
They're pretty much the same thing as a regular chip or a regular crunchy snack, right?
Yeah,
If
if you look
you're,
at the ingredients, a lot of them like they have like starches or flours are typically one of the first things on the ingredient list.
well, and they a lot of times will use like beet powder or spinach powder to give it the flavor. So
Hmm.
the amount of vegetable that you're actually getting with those things are so, so minimal. So
Yeah, it's more of the taste and the flavor, like you'd said, than it is the actual like nutrient density of
yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you're not gonna go eat a bunch of veggie straws and get the same type of fiber you would get as if you ate a plate full of mixed vegetables.
Well, yeah, because you're getting fiber from the grain that they use to make the product, whether that's like the potato starch or
Well, and
whatever,
then like
right?
your body's ability to process something that's more manufactured versus something that grows from the ground, there's obviously a difference there as well.
Yeah, for sure. Protein bars, it's another really popular kind of grab and go option for people.
This one kills me because I think you hear it a lot where it's like I had a protein bar to get me by because I didn't have time for lunch.
Yeah.
It's like that isn't really designed to be a meal replacement.
Yes. It's more so a snack between meals to hold you over until you can go have a real meal.
But it's pretty difficult to find something that doesn't have a bunch of like bad sweeteners and things that can help or that can mess up like your gut microbiome and your digestion. Like we used to smash those Quest bars way back in the day, and then
Yeah.
uh, really not that much. I guess there was a
I was
period of
like,
time where I
Quest
remember
bars
eating a
hurt my
lot of them.
tummy. I never really
But
liked
it was
those.
the sugar alcohols in it,
Yeah.
and like all those different sweeteners they use, and the different ingredients to help create the texture of the bars.
Well, that's just it, which we're going to dive into in a little bit too, is just looking at the ingredients. Like if you look at the back of a protein bar, there's like 20 to 30 ingredients to put it all together and mush it and hold it and preserve it and whatnot. And so you probably don't even know how to say or know what half of them are. And that's a big part of the problem.
Yep.
Also, the amount of protein in each bar, I think, is something that you need to be mindful of because it could be a 300-calorie protein bar and only have like 8 to 10 grams of protein. And it's like, okay, well, the ratio of total calories here doesn't line up that this is a legitimate serving you as a good source of
Yeah, I mean, you
protein.
could swap that with a hard-boiled egg that's going to give you 6 to 7 grams of protein
Yeah.
for somewhere around like under 100 calories.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, maybe it is quote unquote higher protein, but what's going to come with that? And is it something that your body's going to break down, digest, and really be able to utilize efficiently as fuel? Or is it going to be harder for it to really like
And
put
you're
into
just not getting
action?
a lot of other micronutrients along with it, right?
Yep.
Whole grain bread. I mean, any bread, really.
Yep.
You can say all kinds of things on the front of a bread
And
label.
we're big bread people.
Yeah.
Typically, we stick with something more like sourdough
Yeah.
options.
Yeah. But you could say like multi-grain, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for you. It just means that they use multiple different grains in it. So again, just some verbiage that can be used on here that could be a little bit misleading on how healthy it actually is for you.
Yep. The oatmeal packets versus plain oats. We used to
Yeah,
smash those when I was a kid. We did have the
like the brown sugar oatmeal packets or
yeah
apple
cinnamon and
cinnamon.
apples.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
you
good.
said it opposite of me. You,
Cinnamon
I
apples.
know, and I said apple cinnamon.
Yeah,
Um,
tomato tomato.
yeah, but yeah, those are convenient, quick and easy. All you do is add a little
Blueberry
bit of
ones are really good
water
too. Now that's all I'm gonna think about
and
is the packets of
cook it up.
sugar and blueberry oatmeal. That sounds so good.
I don't think I've ever had a blueberry one. It's always been like brown sugar or apples and
Those are the
cinnamon.
classics because I think those are the two that came in like the mixed variety packs or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
What's the brand?
Quaker.
Quaker Oats.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Lots of brands make it, but that's probably the one that
That's
really
the one that's
started
like
it.
nostalgic as shit.
Yeah,
I remember that takes me back to my childhood.
yeah. But
The
again,
emotional play on that though. I mean, you think about that too. A lot of these foods are things that we're given and we like become emotionally attached to them the same way we would other things in our life. Like it's like music reminds you of certain times, food reminds you of certain
yeah,
times.
for sure.
That's good marketing is what it is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's not that they taste bad, but there's a couple other random things in there. Like, again, if you look at the ingredient
Artificial
list,
sweeteners, extra sugars.
yeah, why
Yeah,
don't
most of
you?
those have like 10 to 15 grams of added sugar.
Yes, because they want to make it sweet and enticing for you to want more and come back
Hmm.
and crave it, right? So get your own oats, put your own cinnamon in there, put your own
You could use
version
honey.
of,
That's what we usually
you could
do.
do honey and you can add some berries and whatever other flavorings you want, but like pick your own toppings. It's not that much more work to make your own oats, you know?
No.
Yeah. I mean, we make little overnight oat containers a lot recently as just like a quick midday grab and go
So what do you
option.
put in that? You put a scoop of I like when you do the double serving. So it's a scoop of protein. It's a cup of oats.
If you're talking about the double serving, I'll
Yep.
just read it off to you. It's a cup of oats, a scoop of protein powder. I do sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon in there, and then you fill it with water for however big your container is. I don't know, half a cup,
Yeah.
3/4 cup. And then I do put a little bit of almond butter in there, a splash of either maple syrup or honey, and then
The ones that we've had recently, I don't remember
that's
you
it.
putting almond butter in there, and I usually do
Yeah.
the interesting
Yeah, I do just like it's like a tablespoon of almond butter.
half a serving.
Yeah.
That's another one that's dangerous when you look at like
Nut
serving sizes.
butters.
Any nut butters.
Yeah,
I've seen,
because if you do like a heaping spoonful, that's probably actually like 2 servings,
which is like
right?
probably somewhere around 350 to
I
ish
don't know if it's that
calories.
much, but it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah. You've been tracking your food more than I have lately, so you
for
probably
almost
know
60 days now.
off the top of your head what certain foods are
Yeah,
for
it's
calories.
been interesting. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, at the end of the day, make your own little oats cups. Don't use the pre-made stuff because they're adding some random sugars in there. If you're going to do sugar, do it from natural sources like, not that sugar is not natural, but like honey and maple syrup.
Yeah, and
Better sugar
better
options.
quality sugar,
Better quality sugar options that actually have like other nutrients in it.
nutrient value, not just like
Yeah.
plain table sugar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like Coke, Coke Zero, Pepsi, soda products?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, they all use some sort of artificial sweeteners, sugar, alcohols, those kinds of things, which can mess with your insulin, sensitivities and your gut microbiomes and all those things. So it doesn't necessarily mean that like a 0-calorie drink is better for you because it could be hindering or messing with your system in other ways, even if it doesn't have any calories to it.
I've seen a lot of different conflicting opinions on this too.
Mm-hmm.
The amount, like people talk about how bad
Aspartame.
aspartame, sorry, I don't know why I said that well funky.
That's okay.
Aspartame. We'll talk about how bad that is for you. But I've also seen the comparisons of the amount of aspartame that's in a can
Mm-hmm.
is not going to be that toxic to your body. You'd have to drink like 70 cans
Yeah.
of whatever your beverage of choice is to actually make it something that's problematic. So
Yeah.
if you're looking at it from a weight loss perspective or a calorie tracking perspective, it's going to
It's
be
a
better
nice
to
way
go
to
diet.
get your sweet, carbonated, bubbly fix
Yep.
than something alternative that has calories,
Yep.
right? But if you're
And a ton of
health,
sugar.
yeah, but if you're health minded in general, you just got to decide if that makes sense for you to have or not. I'm not going to say it's good or bad because I know people who are pretty healthy and they still drink like a Diet Coke, a few times a week because it's like their
It's their
fix.
fix.
It's
And
their
you
fix.
can go back and look at this in comparison to other things that people may have had instead of that
Yeah.
to quote unquote get their fix.
Yeah.
Is a diet soda better than having an alcoholic beverage? I would say yes.
Yeah.
You're not coming with empty calories and alcohol.
Yeah.
Is it better than a full sugar beverage? Yeah,
Like a full sugar Coke versus a Diet Coke, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that because I'm on the train of when I want something, I'm gonna go buy it.
Yeah.
Like uh, cherry Coke Zero is one of the things that will get me every once in a while, maybe like once every couple weeks, maybe once a month. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whenever I just want to get my fix. I don't know.
See, this is where you and I differ amongst, I'm sure, all kinds of people, but I haven't had dark soda in like,
You've had like a Sprite Zero before, but
that's
it's
not
pretty
dark
rare. I
soda.
know, that's
And
what I'm
even
saying.
then, if I've had like a Sprite or something, I was like, you know what? I kind of want something bubbly. We're out to eat. I'm like, I'll get a Sprite. I've done that maybe less than 5 times ever. And
Yeah,
I don't
I
even like it that much. I think once you get that out of your system, I just like, I don't crave it. And if I do have a sip of it, I'm just like, oh, it's not even good
it's
anymore
almost as much the
because
carbonation for me as it is
it's more
anything.
the carbonation for you, I think, because we don't have a lot of sweet stuff, like super artificially sweet things in our diet. So then when you do have something like that, it doesn't taste as good as you remember it tasting because your
Hmm.
taste buds have changed. And that's the same thing with,
Yeah, I'm 100% guilty. Sorry, I didn't mean to
that's
cut you off.
okay. Go ahead.
I'm 100% guilty of like when you go to get the fountain drink at the store
Yeah.
and just like fill it up just enough to get a taste of Diet Dr. Pepper and then
Yeah.
pour the remnants out. Sorry, I interrupted
No,
whatever
that's
you were saying.
okay. Um, I don't know where I was going to go with that train of thought
I don't know. I
anyway.
feel like I had this like sensation that you were going to get lost in thought and I just took over.
I probably was, and I did lose it. So we can move on.
Okay.
But so those are some popular things that you might be at the store looking at labels, not really sure what you're looking at, or there's some like misleading marketing on the front of it. But there's even more marketing words that can be confusing, like
Yeah, the
the
buzzwords.
buzzwords, the things that people are
So
saying in the commercials.
I'll do this. I'll throw a buzzword at you and you tell me your thoughts on it. How about that?
Okay,
You cool with that?
sure.
All right. So if I see something and it says made with natural ingredients,
What is natural? Like, I don't think the FDA regulates what's natural, so it's hard to say like what are they considering natural and how many natural ingredients are in there and how many other non-natural ingredients are in there. So just because it says natural on it doesn't mean that's the only thing in that product.
all
There might
right.
be one natural ingredient in the list of ingredients.
So maybe it says clean ingredients.
I think that's the same. I think that's the same thing. Like,
What do you
what do
mean?
you mean
Like, did
clean?
you wash it with soap
I
before you put
know,
it in
like,
there?
what
Or
does
what?
that mean? A whole food product, right? Like clean, like not
Yeah,
processed,
there's,
but it's like obviously if this isn't a processed good, what does clean mean? Yeah.
yeah. What about organic?
Well, organic is regulated, like there are standards that they have to follow, but organic sugar is still sugar. So just because it's an organic product or ingredient doesn't mean that it's inherently better for you
Yeah,
necessarily.
what was it? Is it the clean 14? Is that what, or clean 15, the thing that
The
has,
environmental working groups,
thank
Dirty
you.
Dozen and Clean 15. Yeah.
Yeah, the Dirty Dozen, the Clean 15. Can you
Yeah.
explain that a little bit? Because I remember you
Yeah, every
back in the Eat
year.
Fit with Brit days, you did a blog article about this or blog post about
Yeah,
this.
they update it every year. So every single year, the environmental working group updates their lists. For the Dirty Dozen are the dirtiest produce items that are usually like covered in like pesticides and like
Glyphosate?
why can't I say that? Glyphosate
Yep.
and other things from just like the farming of it.
Yep.
And so those are the products that you should try to get in organic because there's going to be less junk on them and you obviously want to wash them as well before eating them.
Yep.
The clean 15 are the least amount of like pesticides and stuff on them from production and farming that you can get
I
non-organic.
remember avocados, I think, being one of the
Every
ones.
year it changes.
Okay.
So just because it was on a list once doesn't necessarily mean it'll be on the list next year because it
Dang.
might fall somewhere in the middle and it's not in the top 12 of the dirty or the top clean of the 15.
Yeah.
But typically berries are almost always in the dirty dozen, at least like strawberries and blueberries and things. So you definitely want to try to get your berries in organic. But things that have like a harder outer shell,
That's why I said
like
avocados.
avocados, bananas, oranges, things that have like a denser outer shell are usually in the clean 15 or not even on the
Especially if it's an
list.
outer shell that you're not
Gonna
typically going
eat.
to ingest.
Correct. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a lot of you can go up to the environmentalworkinggroup.com or .org, it might be actually,
EWG.
and see the list for the year because it updates every year on where to look for those things. Yeah.
We talked about multigrain a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So I think that we've already kind of covered our bases there.
Yeah.
Multiple grains does not mean whole grains. Those are different things.
Yeah. It means that there's probably multiple different styles of grains in the
Not,
product.
all right. I digress. What about low fat?
It's kind of like the same thing as yogurt. When you take the fat out of something like that, you're going to add in other sweeteners to
Make it taste good.
make it taste good because you got rid of the fat that usually makes it taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And high protein doesn't necessarily mean, like, is there a threshold for what it needs to be for like
No,
high protein?
I don't think they market what.
Yeah, I mean, like how, no, I'm saying like how, in order to market that as something as high protein, how many grams of protein needs to be in it? Like 5, 10?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you'd mentioned that earlier, you were
So for
saying,
like granola bars or random things that happen to have protein in it, if it's got more than 5 grams of protein in it, they could be like high protein, even though it's not like a
but it could
protein
also
product at all.
be high in fats or carbohydrates too.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about made with real fruit. You mentioned like 2%, like juice concentrates can even be technically qualified as real fruit.
Yeah, any juice concentrate could be like, yeah, made with real fruit because there is a little bit of fruit in there, but then there's also like other sugars in there too.
What
Yeah.
about no added sugars?
That means they did not add additional sugar to the ingredient list, but that doesn't mean that the things already in there don't include sugar.
Yeah, like more natural sugars
Yeah.
versus added.
Yeah.
Like we intentionally put sugar in this to make it taste better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keto, gluten-free.
I mean, keto means there's little to no carbs in there, and gluten-free means there's no gluten in there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that doesn't mean that that entire product or item is healthy
Yeah, like
necessarily.
gluten-free brownies are still brownies.
Yeah, exactly. Or a keto dessert could still be really high in fat and just a calorie bomb in general,
Yeah, that's
right?
what's crazy about keto is like I think a lot of people still demonize carbs and think that okay, well I'll just go eat keto, I'll cut my carbs, and they're still way over their calorie intake needs because if you don't know this,
If you're not tracking your calories and you're doing keto, it can be really easy to get out of hand. So if you're going to do keto, then you need to be tracking to make sure your total calorie intake is still aligned with where it needs to be for whatever your goals are.
yeah. Well, going back to that, there are 9 calories per gram of
Fat.
fats, and with proteins and carbs, it's 4 calories per gram. So you may be eating like a handful of carbs is going to be less than half of the calories
As a handful
as
of
a
fats.
handful of fats.
Yeah.
This is what sucks about like eating nuts,
Yeah.
and that's,
Or using nut butters, like we were saying earlier.
yeah, I mean, you could get a handful of cashews and that could be a absurd amount of calories.
They're
And
like
it's not even a
little,
bad quality of food. And that's what's tough
yeah.
about some of the stuff too, is it's like
Yeah.
just because it's marketed differently or the labels look different or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's not
Yeah.
necessarily somewhat healthy for you or that it can't be a good quality source of food, but it was
Yeah.
marketed in a way that's just intended to get you to decide,
Yeah, for
hey,
sure.
I want to
If
grab
somebody's
this.
eating keto, they're like, "Oh, that's a keto snack. Great, I'll grab it." You know,
Yeah.
like they're just like, "Cool, it says keto, it'll fit.
Yes,
I'll
that's what I
make
was
it
getting at.
work." Or I am gluten free, so I can eat this. And it's like, well, just because it's gluten free doesn't mean that it's still not like maybe high calorie or has a lot of other random things in it
Yeah,
too.
one,
So,
and the reason that they use these different marketing languages
hmm
is to drive repeat buying,
yeah,
overconsumption,
hmm
and some of the different things they put in there are there for like shelf life.
yeah,
It's like it's there because it's a business, and you have to look at it from that perspective
yeah,
instead of like you said, blindly being like, "Oh, I'm gluten free, I can do this,"
yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's still at the end of the day, you need to make sure you're looking at your ingredient list.
Well, they're designed to be hyper palatable
Yeah,
and really drive that repeat consumption behavior, you know?
yeah, yeah.
It's by design.
That serotonin boost of eating it, it tastes good, it gives me that fix, I'm happy, move on, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is leads me to think about some of the like media side of all of this. I know that we've briefly mentioned some of the different documentaries
Yeah.
that have come up in the past that really drive heavy bias towards one style of eating or cutting certain things out or you know, only going this direction with the way that you approach your eating. Some of the different examples, What
Yeah.
the Health, Game Changers, those were very one-sided
Yeah.
documentaries that
But they
were
made a big splash in the industry
they
because
were
it got
very
people
emotionally
talking
compelling. I
about
remember we
it,
even bought like
questioning
some
it.
vegan ground beef after we watched one of them and tried that for a little bit. And we're like,
We were like, nope.
nope,
Just kidding.
going back to the cow. And
Yeah.
if you really go back and look into the details, a lot of the data that they used was cherry picked
And
by
it's not that the data
scientists.
was wrong, but they were spinning it and they were using the information in a way
Correct.
to entice you to believe in their agenda.
And there's no irony in who funded the documentaries and where the money came to be able to
Yeah.
put the science and the production of it all together. So, you know, that's what's tough about those. It's not saying that the claims were false. It's just not as objective of a scientific point of view as it should have been. It was heavily influenced.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that was the point of them making it, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to,
And if you think back to like other eras of time, there's been like the anti-fat era, like
which is where these like low-fat yogurts really started to get popular, right?
yep,
And they changed the food pyramid to support that claim that
yep.
low fat is
Well, I mean, I
better
think that
for
started in
you.
what, like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
They put a ton of like, you know, flawed research, political pressure,
yeah,
industry lobbying, like fat is the villain, you
yeah,
know? And then to your point, they changed the entire food pyramid to really influence people to go down that grain heavy
Hmm.
route and demonized fat.
That's why at the bottom of the food pyramid was all like breads and grains and things. They're like, you need to consume most of this stuff because, again, who was funding that change?
Well, and
Who
then
was
people,
benefiting from that
yes,
change?
100%. And then people started getting into like, okay, this is where like the sugar product wave came in.
Yeah.
And if you look at obesity trends in the US, it started really in like the 70s into the 80s is when you started to see the uptick and all that. And that's
Yeah.
why
Just when
then you saw people,
manufacturing really kicked in and lots of products started to
correct,
be developed
to be
and
able to support the narrative. And then you
yeah.
turn around and look and everyone's like, well, that's why nowadays they're like, that's why carbs are bad for you because the industry demonized fat. So it swung completely the opposite
Now it's
direction.
demonizing
Very
carbs.
much like politics. We're going to
Yeah.
be all the way on the right and then we're going to be all the way on the left. And
Yeah.
it's like people do the same thing with food where it's like fat's horrible for you.
Yeah.
Now carbs are horrible for you. And this just in, a balanced diet is the best thing for you. No shit. Like it's one of those things where
Yeah.
people struggle to find a happy medium. They want to be able to be really like one side opinionated on things, whether it's politics or food or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there is a happy medium. Like you need all three of the macronutrients.
Yeah.
And that's where it's interesting when someone comes in and says, yeah, I've really been trying to lose some weight, so I've been cutting out my carbs.
Hmm.
Very rare do I hear someone come in and say, I've been really trying to keep my fat intake low.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think people have gotten away from that narrative and seen enough of it that they're not like demonizing fat nearly as much as they used to. Carbs have been demonized a lot. I think it's slowly making its turn
It feels
back
like we're
that,
coming back
especially for
to
people
the
who
center.
are more health conscious or active, they know carbs are important for,
Yeah.
muscle building and recovery and
And
everything,
energy and brain
and energy and
function.
hormones and everything. And
Yeah.
so I think that the narrative is slowly adapting to be a little
I
bit more
just think
balanced with that.
any nutritional perspective that completely cuts out one macronutrient is going to be flawed.
Yeah.
Your body needs fats. Your body needs carbs. Your body needs proteins and at different amounts
That's
for
why
different
they're called
people.
the macronutrients, the
Correct.
big nutrients.
Correct.
You need them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another thing too is like we kind of mentioned this already. The research is funded by
Yeah.
companies that have a financial stake in the outcome of consumer behavior with
Yeah.
all these different foods.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind that we're not trying to make you paranoid. We just want people to think critically about like who paid for this and what do they gain from me never eating a carbohydrate again
Like,
or
yeah, like when you see a research article come out or some sort of documentary, it's like, okay, let's like take this with a grain of salt. Let's look into, who's got an agenda for this. Why is it out here? Who's promoting it? And just make sure you're not taking everything at face value necessarily
yeah, and it's also
because
not
there's a
saying
lot
that
to consider.
yeah, it's also not saying that all science is corrupt either.
Well, it's not.
You just gotta find you gotta follow the funding source.
Yeah, you got to follow the funding source and you got to take with it what you feel like makes sense, right?
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking.
Well, things come so fast and we have access to so much information. I think people just consume things and automatically like trust
Yeah.
that it came from a quality source or a respectable and
Yeah.
trustworthy source. You've got to really like do your due diligence and make sure that you think through something long enough to actually make an educated decision on it
Yeah.
instead of being like, well, I saw this or I heard this
Well, and a
or I
lot
was
of
told this.
scientific research, it costs money
Hmm.
to do research, obviously, but who's funding? This is where the funding comes in, right? Like who funded that research to be done, that particular study to come up with a particular result. And so you got to look into it.
Yeah. Well, let's
Yeah.
get off our soapbox and start talking about how to help people actually do something about this.
Yeah. So how do you actually take an item and read the label? Like what are we looking for? What are some things that you should be mindful of? I think the first thing is almost disregard whatever is happening on the front and
I
turn it
mean,
over to the back.
other than being able to identify what it is, like
Yeah.
I'm buying this product, immediately flip it. Don't
Yeah.
really worry about the marketing
I'm
on the front.
interested in this. What is it? Flip it, look at the back and
Hmm.
see what's in there. First, I always look at the ingredient list first and then I'll go look at the
Which
macros.
I think a lot of people do backwards.
Yeah, they're looking at the macros and then maybe they don't even look at ingredients or they um just take a quick glance at it. But if you don't know most of the ingredients in there, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And the ingredient list goes by weight of however much is used in that product.
Mm-hmm.
So those first few ingredients are going to be the most important and tell you the most about what the majority of the product is.
Yeah.
Another thing you want to look at is sugar, because there are so many different names of sugar and I don't even know them all. There's probably so many random ways to label
Dextrose,
something.
maltose, cane syrup, fruit juice concentrate,
Yeah.
agave,
Brown rice syrup.
maltodextrin, sucralose,
Yeah.
coconut sugar. I mean, there's like 60 plus at least names
Yeah.
for.
Well, and sometimes they can use multiple forms of sugar. So then in the ingredient list, you see multiple ones, but they're
Yes,
lower at the bottom of the
correct.
ingredient list because they only used a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. But if you
Yep.
add that all together, it's actually a lot of sugar
Yep.
products, right?
Yep.
But after you look at the ingredients, look at
Protein to calories.
protein to calorie ratio. So if you're looking at the total calories, like let's say it's a 280 calorie protein bar, granola bar, whatever snack item, you want to make sure that there's more than like 10 to 15 grams of protein.
Yeah, I mean, at
for
least
that
20 to
ratio.
25 for something like that, right?
For sure.
And you don't have to be a mathematician, but say something has 25 grams of protein, there's 4 calories per gram. If it was just the protein in there, that's about 100 calories.
Yeah.
So if there's an extra 300 calories in that or 200 calories in that, it's like, okay, well,
What?
this only a third
Yeah.
protein.
Yeah.
And if it's not a heavier source of protein, then it may be mismarketed as a quote unquote high protein.
Which is,
It should be saying, if you want the right thing, it should be high protein in comparison to other things in here. But that's not sexy and nobody's going to buy that.
yeah, nobody's going to buy that. Yeah. Fiber would be the next, like look at your protein to calorie ratio. You want to look at the fiber. You want to see, how much fiber is in there. Again, kind of comparing that ingredient list, like what forms of fiber do they have in there? Is it like whole grains?
Do people still talk about net carbs?
I mean, if you're tracking and
Yeah.
maybe looking at keto and things like that.
So net carbs would be
Carbs minus the fiber.
correct. So say
Yeah.
something has 20 grams of carbs and 5 grams of fiber, that'd be 15 grams of net carbs. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. But also like serving sizes can be manipulative because it might say this, like let's say it's granola and it says the serving size is a fourth of a cup, but then this granola right over here that's a different brand says the serving size is a half a cup, and you're like comparing the labels, but you're not looking at the serving size difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, that's a really strategic way for something to be marketed as low calorie, by having the same product in smaller servings.
But the calories and macros look the same as the one next to it.
Yeah, but one of them is double the amount of servings for the same macronutrient profile.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the ingredients list can look different for those too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not just saying like I'm gonna go buy the almond butter. I'm gonna go look at the difference in the ones in the back and
Yeah.
what are the serving sizes, what all is going into that. And
Yeah. Yep.
shorter lists are typically going to be better. It doesn't mean that just because something has a longer list of ingredients it inherently makes it bad.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, you want to minimize how much extra junk you're consuming. So if you want to be eating as close to a whole food diet as you can and you want to minimize stuff like that, then try to get processed food items that have small ingredient lists.
Yeah, well, and you got to consider as well that the more ingredients it has, the harder it is for your body to break it down, digest it, and absorb it.
Yeah.
When it's a more simple profile of ingredients, then it's less work for your digestive system, which means that there's probably going to be more absorption of
I
what.
was going to say ability to absorb what
Yep.
you're actually consuming.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I know that with all this stuff, it can make you feel maybe a little bit paranoid or fall into this perfectionist mindset. It all comes back to awareness and better decision making.
Yeah.
And we've said it a couple times already, but I'll say it again. You don't have to be perfect. It's okay to eat things that are quote unquote unhealthy for you or marketed as fake healthy foods.
Yeah.
Just be aware of what you're putting in your body. Don't do it blindly. Be educated in the way you approach that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I mean, if you think about it, real whole foods don't need claims on them. So like a chicken breast doesn't say high protein on it, or an apple doesn't say made with real fruit. So at the end of the day, a whole foods diet is going to be the best possible thing for you to consume.
They should throw like high fiber labels on top of apples, you know?
Apples and bananas.
Hey, maybe it markets it a little bit better.
Maybe we'll get more people to eat fruits and veggies and wholesome protein sources.
And my tinfoil hat tells me that we don't want to market healthy foods because people are more valuable when they're sick, but we won't open up that can of worms today because that could be a whole nother podcast.
Well, you just kind of did, but yeah, sure.
We'll crack it open, then we'll shut it and put it back.
Well, it's just, again, there's a bigger agenda to marketing and labels and consumerism, you know, so be mindful of what you're intaking.
Another tip to go back to practical application.
Yeah.
When you are grocery shopping, if you really think about it, most of the healthy stuff is on the perimeter of the grocery store.
Yeah, for sure. The proteins, the produce, the dairy, you know, eggs and yogurts and things like that, cheeses. Yeah, they're all on the outside, and then in the aisles is where all the
man-made engineered
food is. And so try to minimize how many things you're grabbing from the aisles versus the perimeter.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've said this as well before. You got to be brilliant at the basics. So it's just mastering all the simple things. You need protein, you need fiber, you need to stay hydrated, you want whole foods. You got to stay consistent with that. The 80-20 rule, do the right thing. 8 times out of 10 and enjoy the delicacies that were man-made.
A few things here and there that you want.
Yeah. Everybody has their fix, and there's no shame in being able to have some of those things as long as it's not the only thing or the primary thing you're consuming.
Like, I love a good pretzel snack. I'm a big pretzel.
You're also if you have an opportunity to snag a donut, you're going to grab that. And that's
not
like,
as much anymore though. I would say I'm more of a crunchy, crispy chip pretzel type gal. If I'm needing like
smashing those
salty
gluten-free pretzels, those are so good.
Yeah, gluten-free pretzel.
But they marketed to me.
No, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that we don't consume man-made products, but we just do it in small portions.
Yeah, and like we as consumers are not the problem.
Yeah.
The health food industry, depending on the angle you come at, is not quote unquote the problem. They're a business. They're trying to do what they can to put food on their tables and do that. And you can argue about who's in charge of it, but like everybody benefits off of it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of creating more awareness. And I do really feel like as a society and a country, we're moving closer to more awareness. Like they did redo the food pyramid, and it's better. There's still definitely some opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where awareness is key. And I think that's, we kind of like downplay the value of social media and talk a lot about the negatives of it. But what has been nice about social media and accessibility to things is that there's more opportunity to educate yourself now than there ever has been.
Yeah. You have access to whatever you need. You just have to search for it, and you'll find all kinds of information on any given topic. Yeah.
So your challenge is to go into your pantry and pick 3 things, flip them over and look at the back, and just start practicing your ability to go through and recognize some of the things that we talked about today.
And if you don't know what it is, Google it. And that might tell you enough on whether you want to eat it again or not. You know, like if there's an ingredient, they're like, I don't even know what that is. Google it.
You have access to be able to dive in and educate yourself more. There is plenty of support and resources out there that cost you $0 to be able to get a little bit more insight on some of these things. So hopefully we gave you a few tools.
Just some things to look out for next time you're shopping and you're looking at what you're putting in your cart, or you're on the go and you're trying to grab a snack. Maybe grab an apple instead of that random protein bar.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to give you more energy than the energy bar does.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you got that afternoon pick me up, grab some berries, grab an apple, eat a banana.
Yeah.
And try to just be more conscious. That's really all that we're looking for, all that you need.
Yeah. The message was today.
Okay, dope. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us. We will catch you next time.
Thanks. This episode of the Higher Form podcast is powered by Avexia Health and Performance, your home for smart training, simple nutrition, and real accountability. Built to help you look, feel, and perform your best. Whether you're just getting started or chasing your next level, visit AvexiaKC.com to learn more and start building your higher form today.